I just gotta make sure. I'm trying. My child should be headed to bed at some point.
Okay.
It's 10 o'clock, and my 2-year-old's awake.
Oh, too much candy.
Oof.
Yeah, all
Oh
jacked
yeah,
up
it's that
on
holiday soon,
candy.
huh?
We had trick or treat tonight.
Jeez.
Look in the camera.
Come here. Come here.
Look in the camera.
All right, we are live.
Say hi.
Oh, there's a child.
Oh, Spider-Man.
Look,
There's Lincoln on the TV.
Lincoln.
Say hi.
Hi.
Say I'm Spider-Man.
Sorry, Salmon.
Come on,
Yeah,
time for
we're
bed.
supposed to have Halloween here tonight, like from 5 to 6:30 or something like that. It started pouring the rain at 4:30, and then I didn't see a single kid out.
Dude, it started pouring the
Oh.
rain here as well. We just kind of powered through. Guys, I mean, we're leaving Sunday, so we're trying to get all this
Oh,
stuff
that's
in,
right.
you know?
Yeah. Dang.
We'll give it a couple minutes and then we'll start the show.
Mm-hmm. So
If it's up, we like post the link like on Twitter and stuff.
Yep, it's going right now. All you gotta do is like click the share thing and copy link, send it out.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, I see. Get shareable link.
So did you see the new Nintendo news, Chad, about the like new yearly subscription? Where it's like almost like a Game Pass for Nintendo.
They already had that though.
I thought they already did that with like the.
It's like a better one.
Yeah,
It's like a next step.
you
up.
get like
Okay.
you get like the SNES and like the NES games.
Yeah. I thought they were already doing.
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
you get the 64 games, but the emulator on it is like junk. Like it's terrible. This isn't based on my personal experience, solely based upon what I've read on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Which
Like
usually-
Linus Tech Tips, I think, was talking about it and everything.
Yeah, that sounds right.
yeah, usually people are not a friend of Nintendo on the internet.
I don't know, man. You got a
Yep.
bunch of those Nintendorks like Chad that play everything and love it.
Well, I mean, they
I don't love everything. All right, guy. All right, calm it down.
Just making sure you were paying attention.
This guy.
but like they DMCA people for playing their games on stream.
Yeah. No, they're Disney-esque when it comes to stuff like that, and it's really annoying.
Hey, will you turn my light on? Yeah, they I'm not crazy about most of the games. I am pretty excited for the plane trip to have one though.
It's like the
You're gonna turn that
biggest
way
reason I
down.
have one.
All right, thank you. All right, let me post the link here in the couple of Discords, and then we'll get started.
So, Chad, this is not a question for Fox because I already know his answer. The best Halloween candy. It's just the best candy in general, right? So like,
Yeah.
there's no reason to eat candy unless you're gonna enjoy it.
And
Yeah.
make this
So-
a question. Make this
so-
a question.
So what's your go-to?
My
No.
go-to-
Wait. This can be a
Oh,
question at the end of the.
No, you're right. Why not? But Ryan can't answer the question.
I feel like my opinion should matter more than everybody's.
No, because it's just
Why?
wrong.
I mean, I'm probably you two put together. So I feel like if anybody should be trusted for candy, I feel like it should be me.
Why you saying we don't like candy as much as you do?
Yes.
Seems you're being skinniest. All right, you're against the skinny people. Well,
I do.
regularist.
I do. I do root for. I do usually root for the bigger people on things, like a fat athlete. Like I'm ready to buy their jersey. You know what I mean?
Is it called a trick or treat bag?
What is it?
Like whenever Lincoln went trick or treating, and he's carrying around something for everybody to throw the candy in. What's that bag called? So that has an actual name.
I mean, Tiffany, of course, ordered personalized bags off of Etsy.
Mm-hmm.
So ours are trick or treat bags. Some people carry like pumpkins and things, right? Like little baskets.
Yeah.
Get that dog. Literally barking at us 10 o'clock at night. They're gonna call the police on us.
They gonna call the cops.
All right, I'm gonna click. Well, hold on. I don't know if you guys can hear my child crying. I'm on mute, and then after this, we'll get started.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Jared, what do you know about this Braxton Brewing?
It's over in Newport. I've been there a couple of times. I know Jake been there a few times and liked it. Usually their stuff I wasn't a fan of.
Oh, dude, this is like my top 3.
Yeah, I seen
This
that.
Tropic Flair.
It's
Wow.
just that whenever I was there, they didn't have a lot of IPAs at the time. They had some other stuff going on, so that's probably kind of why I didn't like it very much, because I would say they're not really known for their IPAs. They do a lot of collaborations with it's the ice cream company there. I don't know why I forgot it. Oh, I can't remember, but they do like a lot of collaborations with the ice cream company, and like have like milk.
Were they the ones that had the
stuff.
Kings Island one?
Yeah. Like that blue snow cone one. A blue ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right. All right, I'm gonna click start recording here on the Zencaster.
Wait. I gotta do the intro music, and then are you doing the intro music too?
I'll put it before my recording. So do it live.
Yep.
And then thumbs up me when it's over. I'll click start recording on Zencaster, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
We are live for episode 32 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is Thursday, October 28th. I'm not Ryan Fox, here with my fire team, Jared.
Hey guys, I'm looking over this next month of content and I see zeros for what we got coming up here.
And Chad Ocero.
It sounds like you guys are going to be getting a lot of the Books of Sorrow over the next month, 2 months now, since after Festival of Lost ends, there shouldn't be much lore coming in the December release, but we'll find out.
And if you guys are watching on YouTube, don't forget you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Please like our channel on YouTube. We've been putting out Grandmaster guides. Make sure you guys send us a bunch of friend requests. And so see how this live thing goes. It went pretty well last week. We're still working the kinks out, so please forgive us. So, Jared, let's let the dogs out, man.
All right, and then another thing with the podcast, if you listen on iTunes, feel free to leave us a review. If you want to leave us a review through Twitter or Discord, you can do message us and give us your review, and we'll read it out on the pod. And if you decide to roast one of us, that'd be very welcomed, and we don't have a good laugh. All right, this TWAB, Cosmo. He gave us some numbers, so I know that's something that Fox always looks forward to. And the first line of the TWAB was like, this week at Bungie, we're replacing the flawless pool. He definitely started out hot, but he dove right into saying that this is the final week of Festival of the Lost. So if you still got pages to finish out, or you don't got the drastic green that you want, this is the last week of it. I don't think you'll miss much with missing on the auto rifles, looking for them, but rapid fire pulses are pretty fun to play with. So if you don't have a drastic green, go get you one or two that you care about and want to keep with you. All right, back to trials again. And man, Chad, I'm getting tired of it. There's been a lot of trials talk for the last 2 months. Thank God Grandmaster's come back, so we get to do some of that. First thing is that freelance happened this last weekend, and so we got a little bit of numbers for that. There was 244,000 players that only played freelance. Didn't get into the other parts of trials where you do with the fire team. It was the normal playlist. And then so that was 120,000 players that only played in fire teams. That's in the normal playlist. And then 220,000 did flip between there. So that's a decent number of players. So you're looking around 600,000. But only 25.5% of players went flawless. And that is the lowest percentage this season. So since the revamp, that's been the lowest. So one of the main feedbacks from freelance was that team balancing wasn't the greatest. And the way Bungie was balancing the teams, or really not balancing them at all, it's just being random. So the trials freelance was nothing but connection based and kind of win based if using a flawless pool or not. And put them in a hat together, drawed out 3 players, like you're on that team, and the last 3 you're on the other. So I kind of left for some unbalanced matches. So with this freelance playlist, it did split the playlist in another way. So you're thinking about, we touched on it last week, how many different player pools they have going on in trials. So you have the console pool with the new gen consoles and Stadia, and then you have old gen consoles that still play together, only play with each other, and then you have Steam and PC, which is now on Windows. You can play it on the Xbox app now. So there's freelancers is splitting the population in another way. So this is not something they are too thrilled about, but it was something they will bring back in the future, but probably won't be a every weekend thing. So it'll be intermediate, and it kind of makes sense. So you can let players that solo maybe once a month, once or 2 months, get into the trials and only play other solos. And the next thing is the flawless pool is going away. Man, I didn't think Bungie would take it back away after they opened that can of worms up. Usually, the cat's out of the bag, you can't get it back in. But with the changes, it makes a lot of sense here. So we'll go ahead and get through them. Your matchmaking when playing in trials now, starting tomorrow, it's going to be based on how many wins you have gotten that weekend. So then we'll look at the two streams and then people in the middle. So the streams you haven't played at all, you have 0 wins, 0 losses. So you're going to be playing other people that is in the same boat you're in, just logging in for the week or just starting out trials, or they might have played 10 matches and hasn't won one game, and you'll be matching up with them. And then you have the people that live in there all weekend, like Grenader Jake doing trials all weekend, and he has like 270 wins in one weekend. So he's going to be matching people that's also lived in the playlist all week, that's doing carries and not account recoveries. Those are no longer a thing. And then
Yes, they are. Don't kid yourself.
Well, there's probably less of what it used to be.
That's probably true.
And then people in the middle, you're going to have people that's trying to go flawless. They win 2-3 games, have to reset, maybe fall short of the lighthouse at 6. They're going to be in a mixture of, low numbers up to maybe the 20s. If people are like stick to it. So, all right, guys, again, for the 7th or 8th week in a row, we're having trials changes. So I know Fox has a lot to say, so Chad, we'll go ahead and get your thoughts out of the way.
Well, my thoughts are that it's not going to get the same kind of traction as it did the first 3 weeks trials came back, which I wish it did, because that's when the pool was big enough that it was a ton of fun. Now the changes for wins to cards, it's definitely different than the flawless pool, but like you said, the players that are stuck in there, the players that would have been in the flawless pool on the Friday night when we would have started playing, would have already had 80, 100 wins by then. Like, we would have been getting on by the time those guys were already well into the high numbers. So we would not even get matched with them at all. Or based off of this, we shouldn't ever get matched with those kinds of people. So it's kind of like a pseudo version of that, which I'm definitely hopeful for it. But again, it's something we got to see how it works, how it actually works. Because if we're still running into people that are absolutely stomping us and we're playing and we've only gotten like 11 wins, it's like, this is, I'm expecting it to be very different. But
so in that scenario, that would be a very big population decrease then. So, like, if you're not finding people that's around the wins that you have, it will expand. Smash is in chat saying that the flawless pool would away, he's never going flawless. So what they're doing is it's almost creating a flawless pool. So, like, say like you still waited till Sunday, right? So those people that's already been flawless have at least 7 wins. If not, they've played at least more than that. So you're definitely going to win some games. Probably 4 or 5 until you start edging close to that point to where you could potentially match some people with more than 7 wins, and at that point they have a possibility of going flawless. So it's keeping everybody in the same playlist and not completely dividing, but it's definitely picking and choosing what kind of players you're going to be playing against. But if you pick the time to play.
And they're definitely targeting the people that hit 6 and reset.
Yep.
So it's moving those people into the flawless pool. So those people that are doing carries, even though they are doing carries, it's going to get harder because it's going to be based off of wins, not hitting a flawless card and then resetting, or hitting right before the flawless and resetting. So it's making it so those people can't do what they've been doing. So like those people that we were running into with like a 200 win streak and they haven't gone flawless yet, it's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So those people are going to be well and gone by the time we're doing anything in there.
All right, Fox. Let's hear it.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready finally? All right. So for whatever reason, I have thoroughly enjoyed trials 90% of the time this season. The first week, like the first 2 or 3 weeks, was really in there hard and was loving it. And I've kind of got a couple people that I've started playing with, kind of have like 4 or 5 that I can kind of rotate through depending upon who's on. And honestly, once I get flawless, I play the rest of that card out to try to get extra drops on that card. And then I cash it in with Saint. And then I am done for the week. That's how it is for me. Typically, it's taken like Friday or Friday night we'll try to play, or maybe even Saturday night. And it is just, it's not possible. Like with the flawless pool, I'm going win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 3, win 2, lose 1, and we're just constantly back and forth. And you go from beating teams 5-0, 5-1, and then you get made to feel like you've never played this game in your entire life, like you're just starting. The skill gap in this game is some of the craziest I've ever seen in my entire life. And you're kind of getting to the point to where you know which, like if people are playing based upon their loadouts, if they're playing on or if they're playing on controller, if they're playing mouse and keyboard, so one guy I play with is like top 8% elo. I have like 2 or 3 that are like top 10, top 12%, and then like another guy that's top 15, and I float somewhere between like top 20 and top 30% based upon how it goes. So this past week I played 91 matches and had 58 wins and 33 losses. So I fell at the gates of the lighthouse 4 times this week. So that is painful. And that's not counting like 5 wins. From what I can tell, if you get past your first 2 wins, you're going to have a tough game around 5 or 6. And then every game I've ever played with like my people that I play with that aren't resetting or anything, we always have a lighthouse game, and the winner has gone on to the lighthouse. The loser has fell at the gates of the lighthouse. There's never been an instance to where we played like a random 3 stack for our lighthouse game. So we made 2 runs Monday night, and it was about 12:30, 1 a.m. my time. We were 6-0, still had our mercy, and lost 2 games that we had somewhere between like a 1%. I think one game we had 1% chance of winning, and the other game we had like 28% chance of winning. This is based upon the elo off of Destiny Tracker. So we lost both of those. Everybody like gets off and kind of frustrated. I'm unable to sleep because I'm stupid and let this game get to me like that. And I started just watching Twitch because I think I was tired of watching Seinfeld and The Office. So I just turned on Twitch, I always try to watch the people that are streaming that have low viewers. So I found a guy that had like 10 viewers, and his name was something Fox, So I was like, oh, I'll watch this guy. And he was doing carries, and I started looking, and he was like a top 8% player, and the guy he was playing with was top 0.1%. He was like a 3,500 elo. And since I was the only person on his stream that was like talking in chat, he pulled me in, and we won 7 straight games to get to the lighthouse. Now, they reset their cards at 6 wins, and lo and behold, we were playing players between 800 and 1,000 elo at our lighthouse game that had lost like 6 and 8 games in a row. They were literally just in there. So like it wasn't like another team at 6 wins trying to get to the lighthouse. It was like bums, like the absolute worst players of this game. So I don't know what's up with that. There's clearly something busted with the matchmaking. And I feel like if they could get the matchmaking to where you stayed in between like a 40 and a 60% or a 65% chance of winning every game, that it would be much more fun, as opposed to a matchmaking to where, based upon our elo, which is like some fancy math behind the scenes, that puts us in a match that we have a 99% chance of losing. Why would that ever be a thing? Because so they can keep a matchmaking timer at 50 seconds instead of a minute and 5 seconds. Like, give me a break. Like, the matchmaking needs fixed. It's not the game mode.
All right, so they had the biggest thing that they announced this TWAB was addressing matchmaking, and they do have a footnote in here that they do expect to see a little bit longer queue times with this the win matchmaking that they're putting in, but they do believe that they're going to have more high quality games. And just for the record, what Bungie deems at the minimum a minimum quality is a 5-2 game. 5-0 and 5-1s are not quality at all.
And I don't know. I know we talked last week about how you got to keep the population up, and they've got to make these. I don't understand why they're so focused on matchmaking time. Like, why is that such an important parameter? Like, if you're having 3-minute, 4-minute like queue times, I understand. But I don't understand why it has to be so low. It just doesn't make sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, so my guess with that is like, so let's say, we all Johnny day jobs, and you have 2 hours to play on Saturday, right? And you're going to spend a quarter of your time sitting waiting for a match instead of getting an extra few matches in. I think it's a trade-off. I never want to go back to long queue times. I mean, just get us into a game. If it's bad, it's bad. I mean, it's almost just as likely. I think in the future, they're trying to get Trials the best shape possible before Witch Queen drops or before the 30th anniversary drops.
Absolutely.
This what they're doing with matchmaking will give me the chance to play on a Friday or Saturday night, because if we played last Friday together, and I was like, I know we're not going flawless. I'm not resetting my card. And I think we ended up going like maybe 4-3 or something like that, or 4-5. We definitely didn't win that many games, and I know that like Saturday is just like, I'm not wasting my time in Trials. I could go Grandmasters, do some of these seasonal challenges, which is what I did, instead of wasting my time trying to go flawless to get just normal rolls on the weapons that I'm not really interested in. All right.
So my main goal was like, I wanted to give it a shot, and I would say I had to play over 300 to 400 games, I would think, over the last 6 weeks, and I wanted to give the playlist. I wanted to be able to talk about it and feel like I had some knowledge other than what we used to do in that playlist. So that was, I figure if I'm going to talk about it, I thought one person should at least, put the time in. And I was, for whatever reason, I seemed to enjoy it much more than you guys did. But man, it's, when Trials is good, Trials is real good. But what I'm curious of is, should Trials be the end game of PvP, or should the comp mode be reworked to be the end game of PvP?
Yeah, so if you're reworking comp, and it's a true ranked playlist, then that is in game. Like, there's no light level changes. Well, because then people.
That's a tough question, right?
People could use sunset weapons.
They'd have to activate a light level thing.
Just make it. It has to be above 1101, or I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of parameter
I guess so.
they could put over it.
Yeah. All right. Yes, give them a true ranked playlist that people can go in there, and I wonder how it would work being cross-platform, or maybe not cross-platform, to have a true top 500 in the community. So how would you treat somebody? Would you have two separate top 500s, a PC one and a console one?
I mean, do you want to know my honest opinion, or do you want what the community is gonna want?
I want,
We gotta
yeah,
we gotta throw everybody together, man.
absolutely.
We need one world that everybody lives in. Um, if I can play with people with crappy frames, and crappy FOV to go through a raid, and I'm dependent on them for that, I can play against them in whatever the competitive mode is.
It's not separate world's first
there-
race.
Yeah, that's a great point. A very great point. And the other thing is, I just don't understand. Like, they have built-in differences between the input methods.
Yeah.
Whether, like, we have less recoil, but they have more aim assist.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, you can look at the
there-
difference between DMT and Last Word. One's good on,
yeah,
and one's good on the other.
right. That's a very great point. So, I think everybody should be together, and I think they should open up consoles to be able to take mouse and keyboard, because both consoles natively accept that as input methods. So if somebody wants to play mouse and keyboard on a console, work it to where they're able to do that, because somebody can play controller on a PC.
Mhm.
And I think that solves all the issues.
Yeah, I would love to have them have a true rank playlist where you get the top 500 or the top 500 on a weekly reset or something. I don't know how they would do it, but they would have a special title that they can equip only for that week. And if they don't get back
Right.
into the top 500 the next week, then they can't have that title.
Yeah, our boy Smash says in the live chat that'd be a good idea for Trials Lab, and I think that Trials Lab would be the perfect place to put something like that. I think that's an excellent idea, because I'm very curious. Bungie tracks data, numbers, and they just started kind of sharing some of these with us. I'm very curious as to what their data would show if they had everybody in one playlist and they have everybody's input, that's tracked somewhere along the way, to see like how much of a difference it makes. So I don't know. I know that like some things are better on one than the other, but overall I think it's a wash.
I know some of those other content creators. I think Mercules has said it whenever he was at one of those conferences, and that Bungie basically said 85% of the population plays controller. And that was like a couple years ago.
85%?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Now it's a couple years ago.
Wow.
So it's more. I think more people's moved over to PC since then.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
That's
have.
true.
So
Yeah.
I would say that's went down, but it's still a majority of
I mean,
people play controller.
even if it moved 10 whole percent
Yeah.
and to go to 70, like 75%, that's still overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think they should just nerf hunters. That would make everything much easier.
Shadow Dive's getting touched. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's
I think
getting touched. Yep.
Yeah, I think the most frustrating thing I've ever seen was those PC players that are cracked with a backrest shatter dive.
Okay.
Like how quickly you can like move through one of the corridors, like where the door opens,
Yeah.
and just immediately move through shatter dive. And I mean, it was wild. I didn't see it a whole lot, but man, it was very, very, very difficult to counter.
I think I pulled that once off Friday night. You said, "Hey, they're grouped up together through the door," and I backed up through the door and shadow dive to them.
Yeah.
And like I'm not very good at PvP. I think I'm like a 1.3 KD in trials, so like it's, I can get picks with a sniper every now and then, but whenever somebody's better than me with a sniper, there's no contending. There's no like, oh, I got the snipe hit. No, like I might get a body off and they get me in the head or something like that. But
And I'm like I'm like a solid third player on the team. Like I'm a solid third player for a lighthouse. Like I can't be the second best player. There's no way I'm going to be the first best player on a team like that. So, I have to be the 3-man, but I can play that 3-man pretty well. I just hope the bottom tree Stormcaller, because that is a busted super. So I'll admit it now. That thing needs, the landfall on that needs absolutely adjusted.
so I'm okay with the landfall. and I think supers on cast should like do a lot of damage. I don't want them roaming around the map for 30 seconds. I think that's
I never felt like I had. I mean, I think like if you cut like 3 to 5 seconds off of it, I think it would be a pretty, maybe like somewhere around there. I think would be the good amount of time to cut.
You look at more of these games that are like balanced for like super sweaty PvP. You know, you're looking at like Overwatch and Valorant and stuff like that. Their supers, like they only last for like a few seconds, and they only control like a small portion of the map.
Yeah, I try to think about the cowboy formerly known as McCree.
Yeah.
You know, what does he have like 4 to 5 seconds in order to cast his high noon or whatever?
Yep.
And Mercy's, I mean, hers was, it used to rest people, but now it doesn't do that. I can't remember what it does now. We haven't played that in a minute, but yeah, they
No, I
don't
think-
last very long. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I know. And the thing with like the Cassidy, which is what his name is now, is that as soon as you cast it, you have the 5 to 6 seconds, but you can't run anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like
that's
you're
true.
you're walking slowly to figure that out. So you got to cast it at the right time, get all your targets and hit it.
Yeah.
Within that small frame. So you got to already be positioned correctly. And we don't have supers like that. Like with Golden Gun, you can run around the map. Yes, every time I cast it, I don't see a single person, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And sometimes everybody else.
I'll tell you, man, some people that are good with that golden gun are deadly with that golden gun, though.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do that I don't, but man, that thing is it's a round winner for sure.
Yeah, that's a huge discussion for another day of what they should do for supers. Probably go down that very deep rabbit hole talking about adjusting for them. The next thing that happened in the TWAB is we'll get another community manager, and this community manager is named Liana, aka Hippie. It does not say if she goes by like she, her, they, them. So just gonna try to keep calling her Hippie because I think that's pretty cool. So Hippie has been playing Bungie for a long time. She started playing Bungie games back in Pathways into Darkness, and then Myth, and also of course Halo and Destiny. And she's a newly converted Titan main, and jumping puzzles are the bane of her existence. But if you're a Titan main, you throw in those line rampants and jumping puzzles.
It's the best jump.
It's easy then.
It's the best jump.
Maybe throw in that Thunder Crash too to save you if you accidentally fall.
Yep.
All right, Chad. So I guess she's gonna be your favorite, right?
I don't know, man. I love bread.
Oh, here we go.
Wow. I'm still waiting. I mean, firstly, Fox took Cosmo, and Cosmo definitely plays Hunter, and DMG's a Warlock. But they got a nice little trio going there. I'm looking forward to the stuff they put out for us to read and the TWABs. And apparently today was the first day of like her interacting on Twitter and everybody saying "We're a TWAB." So I think I need
Broke her in real good.
I need a shirt today that says "We're a TWAB." To wear
We're
on
a TWAB.
Thursdays. All right. Another thing happened today is hotfix 3.3.1.2 went live. Big things here: mini screens or act more consistently and not go underneath the floor when they go on it. So that's the hollow layer Nightfall modifier for the Grandmaster. Those things was quite scary. Then also they come up and bite you out of nowhere and you one shot basically with one of those. And then
You can see them like flop into the floor, and you're like, oh no,
yeah.
because they like go under the floor and they crawl in from underneath, and you're just they're coming at you, so you gotta like jump, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
And they're trying to address Telesto again. And guys, I might have to eat these words, but I think they're finally putting Telesto into the ground. It no longer attaches to allies.
Never.
The bolts no longer attached to allies. The bolts can no longer be shot or destroyed, and the bolts only last 5 seconds if they're not when they're on the ground or on the wall or something. I mean, the biggest issue with it is that you could shoot the bolts when it's on the ground. Stuff always happened with that. So now they're
Yep.
only going to be there for 5 seconds. Yeah, I think it's finally the nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
And I think go ahead, Chad.
I think the shooting them on the ground and then the attaching to allies was the two things that absolutely needed to happen. Because people were showing off how they can tank golden gun shots. Somebody could waste an entire golden gun if your ally is shooting you with Telesto. And then, every time you shoot the Telesto on the ground, nothing happens. But as soon as you start blowing them up, the game doesn't know what to do. And those two were the problems, I think. But it's gonna come
Yeah,
back.
it seemed.
It's gonna do something.
Yeah, it's. Wasn't there? Man, this is reaching way back into the depths of my brain. Didn't they come out and say that the way they had to code that weapon was that each of those like Telesto balls was like an enemy or something, and that was like what the issue was with it.
Mm-hmm.
So unless they figured out how to recode that weapon, which I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that they haven't done, then I don't think it's ever going to be fixed.
Yeah, I think at this point they should just lock it up in a vault in the tower, and like it's like there, and then just give everybody a free exotic fusion rifle they bring back from D1. I mean, I think
they just need to put it where the Rasputin fusion rifle is. In Pocket Infinity.
okay, yeah,
Because that gun, it did the same thing that Telesto did, and they just need to put them both in the same place and just leave them there.
next time we go to fight Tanix, it's actually Telesto instead.
It's just a giant Telesto model.
All right, finishing up the TWAB. You know, there's some scary costumes and some pumpkins to go look at. So, you know, this one guy made himself look like a Vex with a Halloween mask. Some pretty cool jack-o'-lanterns here. One guy made a jack-o'-lantern that's the Polaris. No, it's not Polaris Lance. It's the Prometheus Lens emblem that everybody got for participating that weekend with the laser show.
Yeah,
He put
that
in his
one
pumpkin.
looks sweet.
Yeah. So, you know, Destiny is up and running and is very strong right now. They're in Festival of the Lost. So, all right, that does it for the TWAB. So next thing is a weapons breakdown for you, and this is the Hothead. Hothead's dropping this week in the Nightfall, and then it's an Arc rocket launcher, newly introduced this season. And it's a Destiny 1 reprised weapon. We all got one to drop from the Grandmaster, so we can probably talk about that. We will talk about that. So I'm going to get to this PvP. Well, I would say this is probably not the best PvP rocket to use, but if you're going to get one and use it, it's quick launch, impact, casing, tracking, and then either thresh or vorpal. So, you know, when I think of getting a rocket in PvP and just say 1/6s, I just want to get the rocket, shoot it, and forget it, and then move on to using my normal loadout. So doing that with the tracking and with the thresh should help get my super just a little bit faster. Makes sense. Vorpal, just in case like somebody pops super to come after the heavy spawn, and you're able to get that heavy off in time before they get to you, can help you take that super out. All right. PvP wall. This is one that means the most. First 2 columns is quite easy. Quick launch and then impact casing again. Impact casing, I think, adds like 7% to the damage of the impact, so it's great there. Second column, demolitionist or field prep. I'll talk about field prep in a second. And then the last column, I think you have 3 very good options. You have clown cartridge, you have vorpal, and then you have explosive light. So explosive light does like, I think 25 extra damage on a shot. That's whenever you pick up an orb, and then it like supercharges the rocket, and then you can pick up a total of 6. So that comes into play with field prep. So with field prep, you're boosting up how many rockets you can have. It's like having rocket launcher reserves on your chest piece, but instead you have it on your weapon, and all you have to do is crouch to get that reload. So I got demolitionist with clown cartridge. So that means I can shoot off 3 rockets without reloading. I do 2 rockets, throw a grenade that reloads the rocket in there, and shoot it again. Demolitionist used to work faster, but now it's on a 3-second cooldown whenever you can get a new rocket recharge. So I think about potential DPS phases. So what if like next season of rocket launchers or gets the fusion rifle buff seasonal mod that we got this time with particle deconstruction. So that's what I'm thinking about this, just trying to shoot off many rockets as possible. Field prep, I would have loved to have it in my second column if I pair that with clown cartridge. So like I have extra rockets. I load 2 very fast, shoot those 2 off and get another fast reload. Explosive light with field prep makes a lot of sense too. You're putting out lots of big damage and getting a reload fast. And then demolition repair, either good with any of those again. We're basically just spelling that out. This weapon can also get Adrenaline Junkie in the last perk column. And we don't know what's going to happen to that yet. It's been an Insta shard for about 2 months now, and then DMG a couple weeks ago said, hey, it's getting a rework. I would probably hold on to a couple rolls, and they're going to beef it up. Usually whenever they say that and want people to hold on to some rolls, that means it's something good is definitely coming. So Chad, what did you get on your hothead here?
I got let's see here. Pretty sure I got tracking thresh, which are the 2 that I cared about. Was tracking obviously, but that you get that every time.
Yeah.
And then thresh
With the depth version.
now. Yeah. Now I do want the demo adrenaline and let's see here, because the field prep is great just for the quicker reload. Field prep clown would be hilarious.
Yeah.
You just stay crouched and you just keep on shooting. You just chink, and then 2 in the 2, and then bang, 2, bang. Oh man, it's that, and then does the field prep does it stack on top of the tiny barricade? Because the tiny barricade I think just maxes you out.
Well, with the barricade, you actually have to pop up above it, right? Or would you crouch down behind it? You get the extra reload, or whenever you're standing up?
Yeah, whenever you're behind it, you just reload faster, and you can be like a little bit behind it, so you can just sit there crouched and just fire.
Yeah. I'm sure like that and like Lunafactions will buff your reload to help send that over the top.
Yeah.
All right, Fox.
Hey, how does the hold on? How does the what's the auto holster the holster perk, the one that's on the boots this season? Is there one of those for rockets?
No.
Okay. Never mind. So the roll that I got in the third column, I got either quick draw or tracking, and in the fourth column, I got danger zone. I got impact casing in the second column, and then either volatile or quick launch. So, if anything, it would be more of a PvP roll than a PvE roll, because if I'm in a group of people and I have heavy, I can like jump up and still be surrounded and perk the danger zone.
Yeah.
Which potentially could increase my blast radius. It's not a great roll, but it's a roll to fill out the collections, which is kind of what I was looking for. I would kind of like to have a better roll of this, because what are the other arc rocket launchers? Well, like who's jaw and
the heretic on the moon. Is that what it's called? It's an Ultra Zardo's rocket launcher.
Yeah. Husgao and the heretic, I believe.
Yeah.
Jaw. That's a hard G. So that is, so I would like to have one. I'm not, if it was like Lake of Shadows, I'd maybe run like 2 or 3 more.
Yeah.
Just to maybe try to get a better one, but I'm definitely not rolling back up through the corrupted again.
Well, the corrupted, we'll get to that soon. Definitely not as hard as it's been in the past. All right, next thing is okay, go ahead.
I think before we move on, I think the next hothead drop is gonna be on Lake of Shadows. Actually,
let's go.
Yeah, if my math is done incorrectly, it should be on Lake of Shadows.
Yep, you're right. All right. Next thing up is Gambling Corner. And this last week we all bet that we would get the corrupted Grandmaster clear in under 2.5 tries. We got it on our second try. We have a live feed that we put up on YouTube that if you want to check that out. And then also Fox uploaded the clean run, the second run that we got it done. So with that bet, we all hit it. So my current total is 14,000 Glimmer. Chad is at 17,500. And this Silver Fox over here is at 92,000. So.
Oh, you guys are getting smashed.
Oh.
I'm like Jimmy the Greek over here.
I've went all in twice now. I've had to delete one God Wall. I actually hit this time going all in. So, Chad has been fluctuating from, like, I think the lowest he ever got down was 9,000 and floated back up to like in the low 20s.
He hit like 32, I thought, at one
he hit
point, didn't
32?
he?
Yeah.
I did.
And then we peer pressured him into betting more. So I think
You did.
What Chad doesn't know is that the rules that we wrote out is the person that finishes second is actually the person that has to delete a God roll at the end of the season.
Again,
So-
I've refused to ever play this, so I'm just kind of here as a test subject. I'm not doing anything.
So we really do need an idea from the listeners or the viewers as to what we win with this, because we kind of just started doing it without really putting a whole lot of thought into what happens if somebody gets up a whole lot. What can they spend their money on or their Glimmer on, and what happens if you win? What happens if you lose? So something that is not gonna like destroy one of us, but it'd be a little bit painful. That's kind of where we want to go. We're not trying to sabotage, because I got to depend on these guys to try to get worlds first. So I don't want them to have to delete their whole vault and to not be able to pump DPS out. So
Yeah, so we've talked about having to play Gambit or picking somebody's the character they have to use for like a week or 2 weeks or something like that. I think making somebody play Gambit for an hour and then also picking their subclass and loadout can be painful for a extended amount of time. Potentially having to play on the opposite input method that they're used to can be a great punishment.
So I have a question. Jared. What would it take? How much Glimmer is it going to take for you and Chad to play 2 hours of Gambit? You each have to play opposite control scheme, and I get a pick. I don't get to pick the exact weapon, but I get to pick the weapon type that goes in each slot.
Yeah.
Like what would that cost?
So Chad, I'm thinking combined it's 20,000 an hour. So that'd be 40,000 for 2 hours.
So I'll do that. I'll give up 40,000 of my Glimmer, and you guys have to stream 2 hours live, playing opposite and that, and then we have it recorded and it's like evergreen content for that.
I think we could do that, Chad.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd rather do a solo dungeon, but I'm good at that, so whatever. That's fine. I'll do that.
You want to do that on an opposite input style and Chad?
No,
and Fox
definitely
picks the loadout.
I'd rather hang out with you for 2 hours and suffer, as long as I'm allowed to drink.
Yeah.
I'll
Of
be okay.
course, that's preferred. And I also want to play. So this might be something we have to put like 2 weeks out in advance, and we'll do it that way. But I'm going to go ahead and take 40,000 off of my total, bringing me to 52,000, and we'll have that there. But we'll figure out a date and block off a time that doesn't interfere with Kentucky football or basketball, and go from there.
All right. So
All right. So the bet this week have I don't think we've talked about it yet. And so we have the Devil's Lair is the Grandmaster that's coming this week. Full disclosure, we won't be able to do this until like Sunday because I am going to be out of town and I'll be flying back. Actually, it might even be Monday. I'll figure it out for sure. We'll post it on our Twitter at Destiny CC Pod. So here we have first death in the Grandmaster. You're not allowed to bet on yourself. So it is plus 150. That is the odds on everybody. It's even odd or not even odds, but the same odds for each of us. And you cannot bet twice. And if you bet that we have a full Grandmaster flawless run, that's plus 1,000.
so Devil's Lair, you spawn in an open area with all kinds of ads, and you got to make it to the end to kill one overload to progress through. You can take it slow, or you can jump on the Sparrow and go. After that, this strike is basically just stand in a corner in a well with turrets and take everything out from distance, for the most part. As in a Grandmaster difficulty, this is not one of the more difficult ones, it's just one of the longer ones. And then the spider tank room with the two brigs can be a little difficult at times. You can easily get one shot by the brigs. So definitely lots of opportunity for death. I'm gonna go with Chad. I'm gonna put 5,000 on Chad to be the first death.
Shoo. Well, I was gonna vote for me too. Shit.
You're not allowed to bet on yourself.
I know. You know what? I believe in us. 2,500 on flawless.
Okay.
Oh, that is a.
Because I if we can get past that first spot, I believe we can do it. But it's gonna be that first
Alright.
spot, and it's gonna
Alright,
be
so Jared-
immediate. And I'm just gonna sit there, and I'm gonna work because we're gonna be streaming it. I'm just gonna sit down and cry a little bit, turn my camera off. It'll be okay.
All right, so Jared, you bet 5,000, and you bet 5,000 to win 7,500, which will pay out a total of 12,500.
Yep.
And Chad bet 2,500 on flawless. I'll let you do that math while I'll figure out what I want to bet here. And I think that I am going to bet. Chad's been the one that's been dying the most here in these recently.
Yeah.
And first.
Yeah.
But I think that he knows that. So since I'm
Yeah.
not allowed to bet on myself, I think that Chad's going to be playing like hyper conservative, especially since, he has a flawless bet. So just as a value bet, I'm going to bet 10,000 on Jared.
Yep.
So a $10,000 bet would be to win 15,000. So it'd be a payout of 25,000.
Yeah. And Chad's payout.
All right,
is
Jared, on the
6,000
side,
to
what are you
go.
gonna give me to die first? You gonna send me some bourbon?
Yeah,
Don't
do you-
forget, I
you
control
got-
your boy. I can control your guys' loadouts. So just keep that in mind for 2
You got-
hours of
You
gambit.
got tipsy out there? I don't know what I could send.
They're more they're drizzly people out.
Yeah, it's drizzly.
Oh, okay.
It's drizzly out here.
out in that time zone. It's drizzly.
Mhm.
All right. I would say I'm definitely probably the more aggressive one for the most part, and pushing the envelope and Grandmasters. And so it's time to dive into the Corrupted, and our time in there. This is the second time it's been around. The first time since season 11. Back then, we was able to use Mountaintop and Anarchy and Xenophage. I remember I'm pretty sure we had Spoils of War, where you could do a finisher and get heavy ammo, because that's where he was able to use Xenophage at times. But there was a lot of things has changed. So it might be like thinking about the things Bungie's changed on this. They took out some of the champions that spawn in the org room, so there's 2 less champions in there. The boop effect of all the taken, like the phalanxes and like the pulls they make when you kill them, and then Sadia herself was dropped from 40% to 20%, and then the orb actually got herbs got nerfed, where we used to be able to stack like 50 of them if you wanted to, just passing them and dropping them, and just chuck orbs in the room. Those now despawn a lot quicker whenever you drop them. And so, get into this. We definitely wanted to run particle reconstruction. So that's what I did with Vex Mythic class. I did that with a blinding ignition code, and then the linear fusion rifle. I used threaded needle with auto loading and Vorpal on it. So Fox, of course, he ran Divinity for us in a well, tried and true.
Divinity God. I think that's what you were looking for. Divinity King, maybe. Not the other word. We don't use that word anymore.
And then he paired that with Messenger, with Unstoppable, and then a linear fusion also. And then Chad, what did you end up doing? I think you changed it up a bit this week.
Yeah, I was the warlock. So since we already had a well, I decided to be the Freezy Boy. We needed Jared on his hunter for invis, so I was running Freezy Boy warlocks with the turrets, with the seekers, and Augur's Scepter. That way I could keep control of ads, mostly keeping control of the scions, because the scions to me were the major problem. If I could control the scions on my own, Ryan and Jared were able to take care of the knights and stuff during the boss room. But if I couldn't keep control of those scions, everyone's dying. That's how we wiped the first time. I didn't free. I died. All the scions jumped over, and since I couldn't freeze any of them, they were everywhere, and it was over at that point. So because I was doing that, I was anytime there were scions on the field, I was maining Augur's Scepter. I would run up to the top of the stairs, drop a turret right up there so that I could see the scions from everywhere, come back down the stairs and just sit there with the scepter, just beaming away, shooting every single thing that was frozen or slowed to make sure that I could kill it, chain the freezes, and just keep it going. But I was running that. I was running a Void Bow for overloads, and then a Corsair's Wrath for a solar linear fusion. So if they were getting shots off already for the boss, I could sit there and also plink away on that. But my job mainly was to keep ads controlled, and then hit Sadia with a freeze if I could for boss damage if we're in a well.
Yeah, so the pain points of this Grandmaster would probably be the elevator, and then the orb room, and then the boss room. So each one presents its own challenge in its own way. The elevator, you have to have, at our case, we had to make sure we took out the scions with Chad, and then maybe with a super or a grenade to help him stop from multiplying, and which that's the same issue in the boss room. They multiply so quick, and if you don't get like a stasis slow or like an overload, so like what overload does, like with a bow, it also keeps enemies from using their abilities. That's also ability to multiply. So you get like a half second if you hit one and you don't kill it to keep it from multiplying. But it's a very short window, and you gotta make sure you hit the next one, because usually there's another siren right next to it that you're hitting instead of the originally one you hit to keep it from multiplying. And in the org room, we by on our second one, we figured out that in the normal realm we should just take out the one unstoppable champion there, and then take out the regular ogre, and then just go to the taken realm and finish that encounter off. The flipping back and forth every like 10 to 15 seconds is very annoying, and you need a lot of team communication to call out to try to focus the champion, because you don't want to kill that boss before you take out the champion, because you would lose your platinum at that point, because the champion would despawn. And this is a very tough Grandmaster, and if you're going to put the time in to get the completion, you might as well get the platinum along the way to get that adept weapon and maybe some mods if you haven't got all those yet. And then once you get to that taken side of the org room, there's 2 taken fake unstoppable phalanxes that will charge you. And there's lots and lots of void shield acolytes. And then you also have the boss that whenever they hit you with that taken push, if you're in the air at the wrong time, he can fling you off the wrong side and fling you to your death.
Yeah, so we had a chat come in from Dark Haze. He said, sounds like a lot of work. And boy, is that the truth. This Grandmaster, there's not really a section of it that you can turn your brain off, because each part has knights that are booming at you. We haven't even talked about the ones in the air that shoot the purple orbs at you, open and close, high
Shriekers.
Shriekers. Yeah, the amount of Shriekers, and you got ogres, and honestly, the easiest part is after you take the big drop down into the portal at the bottom, and you're in that room with like the big staircase going down, because you can keep all the champions at bay at distance and just kind of finish them off. That's really the only area you can kind of catch your breath and do that. The issue is that the strike is long and you're on a 45-minute timer. And our first run through it, we were kind of just slow poking, doing our slow runs. And we wiped in the orb encounter, that when you first encounter the boss. And I think we were already at like 37 minutes. So we would have been in trouble anyway, truth be told. So one thing I wanted to touch base on is actually 2 things, and I'll reference Chad here for the second one. Whenever you get to the orb room, once the boss is on the left, if you're standing on the little staircase in the middle platform, once the boss is on the left and you do damage there, if you chunk enough damage, she opens the portal and you can like Hunter Smoke and just skip an entire round of ads, which can save you probably like 4 minutes, which could be very valuable in this strike specifically. The other thing that Chad mentioned in our group message this morning was that this boss actually has, like, using divinity does less damage on her. You were saying, Chad?
Yeah, so this boss is one of the weird ones with the crit multiplier. I think the only ones that exist currently are the tech unes, so the 2 in the raid and this one. And I think there's one more. I just can't remember which one. Now divinity is great because it allows you to get a huge crit spot, and it still gives you the plus, was it 25% multiplier, plus 40%?
Yes, it's
so it
25.
still gives you that plus 25. So you have a gigantic circle that you can shoot for a plus 25 multiplier no matter what. That's easy. But if you have a good team that's very accurate with sleeper, if you plan it right, yeah, I would have hit her with a freeze, like the melee freeze or something. The turret would have been shooting at her. We would have planted the well right at the start. Jared would have thrown the orb, and then we would have all just slammed her with sleeper. You can actually do enough damage to just wipe her out completely, like you can in the normal Nightfall. Now, it's extremely hard to do because her head is about the size of like a pinhead. It's tiny.
Right.
So hitting that as a crit is insane, and she does float a lot around. And you don't want to peek out too much to her because she can just annihilate you, even if you're in a well. So it's highly aggressive. It's an easy way to get her to move to the second phase if you want to do it that way, or if you want to just quickly push her into second phase so that she leaves and then you can smoke and run away. But it is a way for teams that are excellent that they can just wipe her then and there.
Is that how like Aztec Cross had that video out where they were doing sub 20-minute runs on this?
Probably.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
They were hitting all the
because-
champions, like really, like just bam, that champion's dead, because they had sleepers. So they're like, bang, it's dead. Bang, it's dead. So
Right.
that would
I
make
didn't watch
sense.
the video, but I did see it on my my subs or whatever. Yeah. So the final boss room, it's still a pain when you're on like the donut there, and they did nerf her boop ability, but she can still boop you I think she booped me 2 or 3 times off the map just in that final. For whatever reason, I was the one drawing aggro. I'm not sure why, but she knew where I was and she made me pay. So
So Fox, we'll just keep this between us, right? I mean, Chad. Sorry, Chad. We'll keep this. Fox don't know about this, but whenever I just smoked me and you, he was the only one visible. So he was the only one taking shots.
makes
So,
sense. Makes sense.
I wanted to get the orb so I could throw it to Chad.
You do what you gotta do, dog.
Yeah. So
It all worked out.
I went back and looked at the VOD that we put out, and that boop, whenever she popped us up, whenever we was on like the middle plate, and Fox said, "Oh well, I'm dead," and then like he actually landed it, he didn't die, and I landed it too. Like the last time I was a GM, we would actually have flown all the way to the left farthest plate, and maybe we would have like landed on the plate, or we probably just floated off into space.
We would have pushed our directional to go with the boop to land on the other platform. Otherwise, you would have just died. But yeah, no, the lessening of the boop inning was a major help because it was still scary, and it's still really good if you're at like the middle or the edge of the platform. You're probably gone, but you can save it. So it's much better. The nerf that they did to it was excellent.
Yeah. And then one of the times Fox got booped when he was on the donut. That's a great way to call the final room, just the donut. I actually had the orb in my hand, so I was able to like melee to change my momentum, then jump, and then melee again to get myself back. So if you're the one that's grabbing the orb, I would say use that to your benefit to help to change the momentum if you somehow you get booped off there. Yeah, I think Invis Hunter came in really helpful moving around in the boss room, especially at Donut too, because I think I was the only one alive there for a minute. So, like, Fox did down as well and got booped off. Chad got overrun, and then I was just like, all right, got to do a couple laps. And
right. And listen, even at 7 resist, I can't remember if I was arc or void resist, or I might have even have been concussive dampener. She still one shot me with her like ranged melee attack that she does.
Okay.
Like that thing one shot me like 2 or 3 times in that strike. So I'm not sure what you would have to run. I'm assuming like a arc resist and probably 7 would maybe survive you with that.
So it's an arc. So you said you had arc resist on?
I think I might have been like sniper and concussive dampener maybe. I'm not sure I had arc resist. I'd have to check the thing. But all I know is one time I died in the orb boss room, like the 3 platform one, and she just direct hit me and I was dead. Like full health to gone. So that was kind of frustrating. Yeah. But still they have nerfed these strikes tremendously because this was way easier than it was prior.
Yes. They took out a lot of some of the yellow bars got taken out, that they're just not even there anymore. And then I think they changed the amount of ads that spawn too in some of the places. And I mean, there's 2 less champions too. I mean, the first time we went through, we weren't even caring about getting platinum because at that time in Destiny we didn't have adept weapons. There's like you just gotta get it done to get the title done. Right, so like technically we should be like Conqueror 5 or something like that. It's one of the things that irks me the most about this game, because there's a very small percentage of the population that went back and that kept up with the Grandmasters back then. Yeah, so I think for the most part, it's like I ran Vex, right? So like a lot of people might not have Vex yet because of RNG. You know, Chad suffered 55 times trying to get it. The divinity is some people don't have divinity, so divinity is not needed. Vex is not needed. I say the Aegir Scepter was so great to take out Ash. So if you got the season pass, then you should have that. Chad don't even have the catalyst done yet, so that wouldn't have been needed. I mean, the big point of that is you're pairing it with the warlock and getting the seekers off of it. So when you're killing one, it's freezing another one. I would say Wither Horde's a great option to lay down whenever the ads are jumping across from platform to platform. I say like the exotic bows. I see a lot of people like running Tikus or running Lamarnark to easily stun the champions from distance and doing some decent DPS on them. So by no means do you need to use a raid exotic meta to get through this, but you probably have a little bit tougher time if you don't have. But I think this is easier than it used to be, but still probably going to be the most or second most difficult Grandmaster of the season.
So the messenger is awesome for the unstoppables. So keep like pulse rifles seem to be really consistent with that. So keep that in mind as well. We should start like every 2 weeks we do a divinity run or something like that to help out people. I think that'd be really cool. If somebody's interested in that, just on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod or something, get a hold of us, and I think that'd be pretty neat.
Yep, especially with we only have 2 more weeks of Grandmaster content. I think we'll kind of be waiting around for December 7th to happen, so it'd be a great time to go and do some of those things. Or if you haven't did Last Wish yet, or haven't done Deep Stone Crypt, I mean, raids are the best thing in this game. All right, Chad.
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about doing a divinity run for the homies because they've been running lots of VOG trying to get their own Vex. But it's like, there's 5 of them that I could get in and know they're good, so I could get them in on a divinity run. It'd be hard, but I could probably get them all through it if I had 2 hours, because it'd be literally me be the only one that knows the raid, and then the rest of them. So I think it's possible, definitely. But if it's all 3 of us and then 3 new people, it's not really an issue.
Right. Smash just commented that he could use a Vex Catalyst run. So I know one other person for sure that could use a Vex Catalyst run. So we could we'll get you in on that, Smash. Hopefully in the probably not next week because I'll be out of town, but maybe the week after, we'll for sure get you in. That's pretty quick. And you only have to run up until Gatekeepers. You don't even have to run Gatekeepers to get that Catalyst, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, Chad. Tales of the Forgotten, Part 2. What do you got for us?
Part 2. Well, today we're going back to a friend of a lot of ours. We already went through the moon. We already went through Europa. And Glint's still flying around trying to figure out these headless ones. And his next spot is Nessus, because right in front of Failsafe is the lost sector that we go in through as a haunted lost sector. So obviously he has access to a lot of the hidden records, and he's going through, during his adventure, he goes through data logs that he finds that are pertinent to what he's doing. So first he goes and he gets near Exodus Black. He requests permission to board over the comms. A chipper digital voice quickly replies, "Yes, I'm happy to receive you, even if you are a terrible ingrate. Thanks, Failsafe." Glenn goes into the ship, past all the Vex and the Fallen. Then he says, "I know the Vanguard hasn't been back here in a while, but correct. It's been almost 2 years since you last visited, even though you promised to come back often. I've since developed an emotion of betrayal just for you." "Well, I'm here now." Glenn tried to keep his tone light. "I was hoping you could help me with a research project." "Of course, I'm happy to be exploited for your gain," Failsafe replied helpfully. And then in a more dour tone, anything to break up the unending loneliness. "I'm hoping you could tell me about the headless ones." Glenn uploaded all the information he had to Failsafe's mainframe. "I have intel that they're around here somewhere." "You are correct. They're my neighbors, and they're the worst." Now he opens up a data log, and it's in the Nessus crash site. So it says, "We're not the only ones surveying this crash site. Fallen have been pouring into the area, fighting with Vex for control of the wreckage. For now, we've dug into some subterranean ruins just west of the downed ship. We're covering the entrance and can hold our positions so long as they don't find an access point to our flank. But there's just too many for the 4 of us. We need reinforcements if we want to secure the site. Standing by for instructions." Now Glint goes and And actually, after giving the data to Failsafe, he goes to talk to Mithrax, and asks for his help. And Mithrax's first thing he says, "I've heard tales of such creatures, those with eyes of flame tormented by endless burning." And where do the Elixni think they're from? Glyn asks. Some say they were once hive, twisted by foul experiments. He paused to take a pull from his rebreather. Others say they were guardians who turned to darkness. Has anyone from House Light seen them? Mistrax emitted a series of low clicks which Glint took as grumbling. Clyfix, our engineer, says he witnessed the creatures on Nessus, but... And he seems to be struggling with translating. Yes? What about him? What is the human word for one with a good spirit, but who speaks loudly and without reason? An idiot? Yes, it is so. Clyfix is an idiot. They've been hanging around those ruins for centuries, but they've never once come to say hello, Failsafe says. And they've been that way there for that long, why don't they appear more often? The AI snipped, "Why don't you ask them?" "Oh wait, you can't, because they only speak in fiery shrieks." "I see. What's your best guess then?" "They probably don't want to be smashed by rampaging guardians," the AI responds dourly. "How should I know?" "I just figured that since you're the one of the greatest intelligences in the system, you might have some insight." "Your disingenuous compliment has been noted and appreciated," Failsafe replied, the lilt returning to her voice. "Would you like to play checkers?" He goes back into a data log, and it's the same team that was holed up in that lost sector. It says, "Mayday, extraction needed. The fallen found on access point into the ruins. They hit our flank an hour ago. Desana and Reuben were killed in the initial blast. We fought our way to a defensible position, but it won't last long. Murrah survived, and he's been gut shot. Without a ghost, he won't get through the night. We're surrounded. Shooting our way out is no longer an option. We need orbital bombardment to cover our exit, followed by an immediate medical extraction." And it goes back to Glint. He's talking to Ido and translates one of his questions to Clyfix. Clyfix is there, and he's sprawled out on a chair, feeling important. And the two talk for a minute before Ido turns back to Glint and says, "Clyfix will tell you what he has seen, but he must receive something in return." And she bobs her head up and down, and Glint looks at it and interprets it as an eye roll. And he wants his own sparrow. Glint quickly scans the database for decommissioned sparrows and identifies a couple of old models that maybe Clyfix likes. And Ido relays Glint's optimism. The engineer's mandibles click in what Ghost assumed was excitement. The Elixni chittered back and forth. Ido then translated. He says that he saw the creatures on Nessus during his time with the House of Dusk. They were fighting the Vex over the remnants of a crashed human ship. "The Exodus Black?" Glint interjects. "Just so," Clyfix claims. She emphasized the word and paused to make her skepticism clear, that during one of these battles, he sheltered in some ruins near the crash site. Inside, he says he saw a being with round, bulbous head and flames for eyes. They chittered back and forth once more. "He says it did not attack, but he doubts you will be welcome." "King me," Glint chirped, back with Failsafe again. The holographic checkers board hanging in front of him suddenly exploded into a shower of digital cubes. Murky darkness filled the Exodus Black's cabin. "Oops," the AI said. "I accidentally knocked the board over. How clumsy of me." "Well," Glint fidgets, trying to get out. "I should get back to the Guardian. We're going to visit your neighbors." "Great. Next time you come by, I'll reveal their true origins," the AI volunteers slyly. "But you said you didn't know where they came from," Glint objected. "You asked why they never visit me, not the nature of their existence. Those are two different questions," Failsafe said. "But come again, and I'll tell you everything you want to know about the hive necromancer who ripped the concept of headless ones from the human subconscious." "But only if I come back to visit, right?" "That's right. I hear that's called incentive." Now he starts digging through another data log, and it says 600 hours, orbital bombardment completed. 610. Insertion completed. Evidence of heavy fighting surrounded the crash site. No response on heavy channels. 622. Holdout site located. Entrance barricaded from outside as described. No evidence of a breach attempt. 647. Barricade breached. Entrance deemed stable. Fallen forces occupy the ruins. Comms still silent. 732. Forward assault teams has secured the area. Small arms fire ongoing. We've located 3 human bodies, each with multiple gunshot wounds. Their heads have been removed. 755. Evidence that at least one more human body was scattered by explosives. No sign of the team's weapons, ghosts, or heads. 826. Fallen reinforcements are mobilizing. Rear guard is exchanging heavy weapons fire. Extraction initiated. Site remains under fallen control. Bringing back what remains of what we can. Traveler, help us all. Now Glint's back in the tower, just talking to Ava, and she says, "Glint, it's good to see you. I've been enjoying our additions to our little collection." She pats the Book of the Forgotten. "Though it makes me sad to think of all those poor lost souls driven mad by this or that, even if they are just tall tales." "Actually," Glint chirped, "the Guardian and I are close to proving once and for all that the Headless Ones are real." "My goodness," Ava shook her head in disbelief. "Then again, I shouldn't be surprised. This system keeps getting stranger and stranger." Just then, a Guardian wearing a ferocious chicken mask offers Ava some candy. She politely declines. "Yeah, but they can't hold a candle to the city. There's no one stranger than us," Glint says. And they giggle together and forget all their worries. Now, that's the end of the book, but there's a couple of points that I did want to talk about. In the last data log, they couldn't find the ghosts. And previously, since Glint doesn't go back to talk to Failsafe again, Failsafe says the Hive Necromancer who ripped the concept of Headless Ones from human subconscious. So this Hive Necromancer, who we only really know of one, and another person who may have been taught by that other one, who can go through human subconscious. So now we know that they can dig through the minds of the dead, meaning that if either Nokris or Savathun got their hands on a human or a guardian, they can kind of decipher the light a little bit, and they're getting their hands on ghosts. We already know from another set of lore that there was a shipment of dead ghosts that Osiris had Crow steal, and this was back with Sosiris. So, he was stealing ghosts for her, and now we know where those are going, and we know that these Headless Ones, which are just Hive, are also experiments of Nokris and Savathuns to create, reanimate other beings. So it's good to see evidence of all of this, and even though it is mostly Halloween related, it's nice that they're giving nods at the future and what Savathun and Nokris were up to in the past, trying to figure out necromancy, and they're tying it all together. I'm definitely looking forward to reading more lore, getting into the Books of Sorrow, especially starting next week. I got to figure out exactly what I'm going to be doing this weekend to prep for that. But there's a lot to dig through about Savathun and the Books of Sorrow, and there's a lot there that we're gonna have to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever you talk about the Necromancer, I was just thinking back to seasonal rivals. Whenever we defeated Nokris in the what realm was that?
It was definitely a throne world. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was his or if it was like Savathun's.
Yeah.
I can't remember at the moment.
Like all those shriekers that were like Savathun eyes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were everywhere. And they were bosses too. There were a couple that weren't, but there was like one of them that was a boss, I think. If my memory serves me right, but this was Season of Arrival, so this was legit 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Oh man. I might have to look into lore about that again. Shoot.
Don't mean to add more to it, but it's just something that come to mind.
I mean, we're gonna have like a solid 3 months, 4 months that I'm gonna have to fill with Savathun lore, and there's plenty. I could literally just do readings of the Books of Sorrow so you guys can clip it together for a bedtime stories with Chad.
Oh yeah.
If you
Yeah.
wanted, I could easily do that,
Standalone.
and I'd be happy to because it's such a good story.
When you say you guys, you mean Ryan or not Ryan, right? Like
Yeah.
Or whatever.
like I could be the one to clip it together. I got you.
I'm saying if you want to, because I'm gonna do it. It's a story that needs to be heard, especially if the Oryx raid comes back. There's lots of players that know Oryx, but don't know who he is or what his story is either. And with what's going on, Ziva Wrath is also a player going on right now in the lore. So all three of them are in the forefront of Destiny 2 at the moment. So it's something that's going to be important for me to get through for our listeners, and I want to do it.
Do you
Hey,
think
do you keep track of
words-
what you talk about each week?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. So you can tell me like episode we start talking about this from episode 27 to 35, and then I could just go cut that and make it.
Yeah, they're chronological. My notes are chronological. I could make a note which episodes they're in. It would only take me like maybe 30 minutes to go into each one and add notes. This is episode this is episode that.
Yeah, because
That wouldn't
I
be
really
hard.
would like to do that, but honestly, it would take me a minute to
Yeah.
because we don't keep like our rundown from each week. We just use the same one and just delete over
Yeah,
it,
you'd
which is
have to like
probably
look
not
at
real
the
bright.
episode, find the time stamp, and then cut that out. Yeah. It would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
a lot of work. I'll get started on that one so that we have that at least done.
yeah. Yeah, and then I can start like cutting it week by week. This is not good podcast talk, so we could talk about this later. So I think that we are ready to get to the mailbag. 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 40 seconds into this. So that is we're kind of right on our typical pace here. Question 1, and I haven't even read these. I haven't read all of these, I should say. If you could pick one quality of life improvement that goes into D2 tomorrow, what would it be? I can go first or I can go last. If you
Go
guys
ahead.
need to think for a second. Okay.
No, go first.
All right, so I think it'd be really handy if I know that you can use the app to like grab bounties and things, but if I could just like hit F2 or something and it pulls up a menu of all the available bounties, and like if I could hit that to also buy say upgrade materials while I am on a planet, and say I get a drop from a weapon that I like and I want to upgrade it, and I can just pull that up even if it's only from orbit. I could live with that, but it would be really nice if you had like you could grab bounties from any vendor, and that's including planetary vendors, plus everybody in the tower, plus everybody in the helm. If you could do that all from orbit, ideally from anywhere, you just hit a button and pulls it up. But if it's just orbit, I can live with that. So that would be my thing, and that would stop a lot of like, oh no, I'm out of enhancement cores. I need to go to the tower to buy this because I just pulled this weapon from my vault, and it would be nice to have, but it's 1250 light. So that would be handy. Or if we decide to start playing some strikes and I don't want to go to the tower, the only other thing it's not even close to that level. I hate how they have this new, like once my Valor or all that, one of those are maxed out, having to go to the tower and break your streak and bring everybody else that you're playing with to the tower and and do all that. That's not very fun. I know it used to break your streak. It must not anymore because Jared's shaking his head no. But that gets painful because if you're maxed out on like enhancement prisms, you have to go through and just delete those or use those and pull them up. So that's kind of painful. That would be the two things that I could quickly think of.
Okay. My one that I would definitely want 100 like in there would be I want the helm to have everything the tower does. I'm talking everything. Like it would have a Hawthorne, it would have a Cryptarch, it would have everything that is missing from the tower, because then it could be considered more of a clan space. You'd be able to go in as a team of 6, go in there, and like that would be just your space. If you want to be as a team of 6, if you want to go into the tower to be around a bunch of randoms, see if you can find some people to do stuff, 100% okay. I would probably still go into the tower so I could look at the city, I could look at the traveler, stuff like that. But if I'm running squad, we can load into the helm since it's smaller and literally do all the things we need to do in one spot and then leave. Because going loading in, going to Hawthorne, going all the way over to the area if we need to hit Shax, or if we need to hit Zavla for some bounties, then be like, oh no, I forgot something over at I need to grab some banners, some banners and stuff. You need to go back, and it's a pain. So having all of it in one spot, it doesn't even have to be in that little roundabout. It can be like near the table, like Hawthorne stands by the table. There's a cryptarch next to the prismatic thing. That would be neat. Like just all of that functionality in the helm. That's like if they could do that, oh man, I'd love it. That'd be great.
Yeah, both of those sound good. I got a simple one. No more caps on resources.
Dang it.
That's if they just stop capping me, it just let me build up what I want to build up. Like this seasonal currency that you max out on 3,000 on. It's like if you go through extended play and then all of a sudden you don't notice it that you're capped at 3,000, then you go spend over half of that on 3 engrams for tier 3. Not to mention you're limiting the amount of 2 or 3 engrams I can get a week. Like that kind of stop capping that stuff.
And they suck. The
Yeah.
tier 3 engrams.
I do all weapons. I
Not
do
even
all
worth it.
weapons anyways.
Yeah.
I don't do the armor.
What are you trying to pull from that, Jared?
The grenade launcher. I want like Clown, Spike, Vorpal, or like
Is that the Canis Major or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yep.
That the one you're talking about?
And then the Vulpecula, I would like have one that's like a 7 out of 5. Godwall, just like it's weird things to chase. That's probably not even that great. But you know that hand cannon can get an explosive payload on. So anytime there's an explosive payload hand cannon, I really want the role I'm looking for with that, and that just pairs really well with Verity Brow on the Warlock for the stasis turret.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So just basically, like the rest of us, you kind of make up things that you're looking for that like matter in like 1%
Yeah.
of the time. Yeah.
It's like when hand cannons have overload.
Yeah. I get it. I'm right there with you. All right. I didn't know that we were allowed to do that, because as a man that lost 40 golf balls last season and over the course of like 3.5 weeks. Yeah, I agree. That would have been nice. All right, question number 2. This one's going to be a hard one. Hopefully neither of you become cowards on this one, but what is your Destiny hot take that the majority of the player base does not agree with?
All right, I gotta think of something that most people don't agree with. Do you have one off the top of your head already, Fox?
Yeah, I kind of have one, if we're being honest.
Then go ahead.
You want me to go ahead
Yeah,
and give you
yeah.
guys a minute? Chad, you got
Yeah.
one?
No, I have
All right. So I don't think sunsetting was as bad as everybody else thinks it is, and I also don't think the Destiny content vault is as bad as everybody
You're
makes it out to
choosing
be.
multiple things to kill it
No,
for the
it's
rest of
all
us,
together.
man.
They
It's
kinda-
all
they
together.
kinda go. They kinda go.
They kind of go. It's sunset content and sunset weapons. The reason being, the Destiny 2 had a weird lifespan to where the game was like you had pea shooters, and then they had to increase the power, and then they increased the power fantasy so much that they couldn't do anything about it. There wasn't a realistic balance pass that could have happened. And then we don't need we don't need Gambit Prime and Gambit and Reckoning and Titan, and all these other places. We need a condensed game. Keep everybody, we're always the people that are talking about, we shouldn't split the players. So if you focus, I would rather have more focused content, like all leading to one thing, as opposed to a plethora of things that are just kind of like scattered about. And if you haven't played the game for if you didn't play Forsaken over the last 2 years, I'm sorry. That's not my problem, really, to be honest with you. So I don't really have a lot of sympathy for you.
All right. For me, it's gonna be they made Grandmasters too easy. But there's no reason that we're getting every Grandmaster done either our first try or second try. That's too quick. Even though I appreciate getting the loot and the guaranteed loot, I think that was the right call. But taking out some of this stuff and making we should have died 3 or 4 times when CD has booped us, or made some crazy play to make it over to the other platform. There's made it too easy.
Oh man, you guys took the two things that make sense. I can't pull one out of my butt right now, man.
It's all right. If you don't have one, that's fine, man. You don't have to just think of something. I mean, you can just say you agree with what we said. I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me at all.
I mean, I got another one. I mean, the Destiny community is full of triple Bs that we get so tore up about something so easily, about a $10 change of pricing over the year when you buy something a la carte. Because when you go to Kroger and you want to buy a 12-pack of pop, it's $5.50, or you can buy 3 of them for $12. What do you think happens when you buy something more in advance than if you want to buy something out over?
It's just one of those. It's just one of those which the community as a whole in the entirety of the world has learned is there is a very, 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 very vocal minority of people that have an opinion that most people don't agree with.
I tell you though, I've been in a lot of communities, right? I wouldn't say a lot. I've been in very involved in the Halo community, very involved in the Gears of War community, and obviously the Destiny community. Those are the 3 communities, and then on the outside of Call of Duty, not hardcore in Call of Duty, but enough to where I kind of know what's going on. And the Destiny people are the biggest babies that have ever lived. I don't understand. You can't make them happy. And God bless the people at Bungie for trying to do it, because it is an impossible task. And being a community manager for this community has to be one of the most difficult jobs in the entire world. And this is coming from a guy that I used to play games. I used to play Gears of War with the community manager of Gears of War, so, shout out Hooligan. So we played Gears together. He went from community manager at the Warner Brothers studio that made the Batman Arkham Knight. You remember? Yeah. So he was a community manager for them, and then he got on at the Coalition, and moved from England to up to, I think that, don't they make Gears in Canada? I want to say. I think the Coalition's in Canada. So he's moved continents to do this. It was his dream job. And he would tell me and share some of the things with me that he would see, and it was unbelievable. And the Gears community, while hardcore and while babies as well, are not even in the same arena as the babies that play this game. So, and that includes streamers and content creators are kind of at the top of the list.
Yeah, they definitely have the loudest voices.
Isn't that the truth? So I think we're on number 3. In Grandmasters, you can not get platinum, aka you can get gold and still get adept rewards. Should trials have something for falling short of going flawless and still get an adept weapon? Chad, we'll let you go first so we don't take your answer this time.
I mean, to parrot what Jared just said, Grandmasters are easier than they've been in a long time. They've been getting progressively easier because they want more people playing them, obviously. But it's very easy to farm those roles because you can do them very quickly. Now, if that's the case, if that's how I feel about that, why would I want that to be in trials? I don't want that to be the case. I want a gun to be hard to get. There are certain weekends where I look at a trials gun, I look at the adept gun that's there, and I'm like, I cannot get that gun. I'm just not gonna get it, and that's fine. I have to live with the fact that unless I put in the time myself to better myself and get better, or run with the squad, or watch a streamer and be loaded in with him and carried like Ryan and get lucky, it's just not gonna happen, and that's fine. That's totally fine. GMs are the place where you can go to get adept guns. Now, not all of them are going to be PvE guns, and that's fine, or PvP guns, and that's fine. But if you're playing GMs, you're playing PvE content. You're playing to get PvE guns. So, yeah, that's fine. I don't want the adept trials weapons to be that easy to get. I want them to be hard to get. I want you to have to hit the lighthouse, look at Saint, dance in front of them, and pick up your adept gun. That's what I want to have to happen every time.
I disagree with you, Chad. So, oh my gosh, finally.
What?
So, I'm not going to say that you should get a adept weapon every week, just by putting time into the playlist. What I want is a long grind that would take weeks for a player that doesn't go flawless to get one weapon, one adept weapon. This is something that it takes a long time to work towards. I'm not sure exactly what it would be. I know that maybe a 4 reset from Saint. You can get maybe you can get a adept.
That's
weapon.
A lot of time.
25 wins.
20.
Oh,
Okay. I mean, it's easy.
If you get 25 wins in a weekend, you should be able to get an adept version of whatever the weapon is that weekend.
That's a long time. That's a lot of time investment, and that makes sense. I think that gives a lot of players something to shoot for just by just putting your time into the playlist, which that's what the playlist needs, is players in there playing.
Yep.
That's a good call.
I think we just fixed trials, man.
Yeah.
I think we just fixed it. Bungie. Haga, 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 haga. 25 wins, you get an adept weapon. Messenger's up. You want an adept messenger, and say you're like you and I, Jared, on Friday nights. We're just rotating wins and losses. We know eventually we're going to get there because we're making progress towards it. If we go flawless in the meantime, that's great. But if we get 25, we know we're getting that adept version of that gun. And I think that would increase the amount of people in the playlist, which would increase the likelihood of the average-ish players of going flawless. And I think that solves a lot of the issues.
There you go, Bungie. Free. Cost you nothing.
Yeah, and it wasn't even planned out. Just kind of happened in conversation. Like I said, I'm an idea guy, not an execution guy. You guys can figure out all the coding. I'll just keep throwing the ideas. Chad's shaking his head. He doesn't agree. You don't think 25 wins?
Every time. That's fine. If you want to put the amount of time in to get 25 wins, that's rough. For me, that's not going to happen very quickly. And I would just give up before I hit 15. So if you want to put the time in and get it, you can get it. I'm fine.
Okay. All right. This
Clip it and ship it.
Go ahead.
Boys.
Sorry, Jared.
Clip it and ship it.
Yeah. All right. Next question. What candy excites you the most when you look down into your trick-or-treat bag? Well, I'm 33 years old, so I don't have a trick or treat bag. However, I have a 2.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old that I took trick or treating tonight. So I am very ready to answer this question as to what excites me the most. So
I thought we banned him from answering this question.
that's what I
Yeah,
was to
well,
say.
that's right.
I'm going to go last because I'm not allowed to answer this one.
You've already
I'm
answered
still
this
gonna throw my
question on
opinion.
multiple podcasts of the
Listen,
best candy ever.
No. That wasn't where I was going to go. I was going to give it a shout out. I was going to give candy corn, Brax candy corn, the shout out it deserves. However, if we're talking about a trick or treat bag, you don't get candy corn in a trick or treat bag.
Says who? You don't hand that stuff out?
Nah, dog.
No, you
No,
get
I
your-
don't hand out candy.
you get your-
I keep the porch light off.
You get your house
I
eggs
don't.
if
I
you
don't want
give out
anybody
candy
coming
corn.
here. Yeah, listen, man. We're not staying in the rural areas of Kentucky. We're going to the big cities of Kentucky to go get our candy. So I as whenever I looked into my kid's candy bag and took out the dad tax out of it, I was most excited to see the little sweet tart like candies, like the chewable sweet tarts, like high on the list. Also, Nestle Crunch, high on the list as well. Everybody's gonna complain if you take their Kit Kats or their Reese's. You know, those are kind of like they earn those, right? So I'm not gonna go take those. But like a Nestle Crunch, the Crackle bars, high on the list, and the Sweet Tarts. Those are the ones that I'm snatching, and I don't get much. I don't get much complaint for taking those.
I think for me, it's the Tootsie Pop, the full size Tootsie Pop. That's cherry. That's like my favorite one. That if I find that if I get one of those, like, heck yeah, I am a happy camper.
Yeah, I very much didn't get to trick or treat. So my option was always whatever my sister didn't want, and I figured out that I liked all the candies she didn't like anyway. So I got lucky. But the choice that I always went for first, because I knew that she kind of liked it, and I knew that if she tried it more often, she would like it, because she loved peanut M&Ms, was the Mr. Good bars. Those were like, it's just a chocolate bar with peanuts, man. Just give me that. Give it to me. She would be grabbing the crunch, and I'm like, okay, you can have the crunch, but I'm taking those good bars. Those are for me.
Man, Mr. Goodbar is nothing but like a budget Snicker. It's like
No, it's a budget
so-
M&M, dude. A budget peanut M&M. It's just chocolate and peanuts. That's all it is.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that, dog? I don't want no caramel. I just want chocolate and peanut. If I want caramel, I'll get a Snickers, but I didn't have that choice. Snickers were gone. Those were the dad tax candy.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk. So, let's say you guys probably don't even eat chocolate, but let's say you go into the gas station and they have like the king size buy one get one free, or the 2 for $3. What two are you snatching up?
This is easy. I just did it like a week ago. It's double king size Reese's sticks for me.
Reese's Sticks, baby. It's going to be, for me, because I like to have a flavor difference, it's going to be the Nutrageous and the Reese's Crispity Crunchy ones. Yeah. The sticks, though, are right there with me.
I typically go Milky Way Fast Break.
Milky,
That's
okay.
usually my two.
Nobody will agree with you except the weirdos, man. Like,
Dude, Milky Way is delicious. Don't start your
sorry.
Milky Way slander. Don't start your Milky Way slander. I'm not going to stand
Nobody
for
likes
it.
Milky Way.
So
I-
our next question comes from the viewer Smashimus. And he says, what underused weapon type would you like to see get a fusion rifle level rework to gain relevance? I know I never used them before this season. Only weirdos ever used fusion rifles before this season.
He didn't say that. He's just saying that because I called him weirdo. My answer is fusion rifles. Because people are using them because of particle deconstruction. Once particle deconstruction goes away, people aren't going to be using them in PvE anymore. At all. They're just not.
People still
That's what I
use
want.
Vax.
That doesn't count. That's an exotic. I'm leaving that out of it. All the legendaries will be put back in the
fusion
vault
rifle.
where they're gonna stay.
It's a fusion rifle.
It's an auto rifle, dude. That's like saying there's so many fusions that aren't fusions.
Listen,
you pick
have
the
to listen to You have to listen. You have to listen to me because I've used it more than you have. When's the
You
last
don't
time
have
you
to.
used the weapon?
How many hours do you have with all
When's the
fusions?
last
Like just
time? When's the
overall
last time
fusion
you used
rifle
it?
usage.
When's the last time you used Vex Mythoclast?
We're not talking about that, dog. We're talking about fusions overall. There hasn't been a rework to Vex. There's been a rework to fusions. Vex isn't a part of that equation.
What about you, Jared? What do you think?
I think there's going to be more diversity into the rocket launchers. For really, they're all the same except for one of them has built-in tracking. So that built-in tracking makes that one, the precision frame, automatically better. So what I want to see more diverse in how much they shoot damage-wise per rocket, and then I would like to have one of the frames automatically have 2 in a holster.
Right.
So like I just want more diversity in the rocket launchers, and I think rocket launchers will get the particle reconstruction seasonal mod next season if Bungie follows the trend.
I'm torn between pulse rifles and sidearms. I feel like they're in the worst spot. Well, I mean, truly, scout rifles probably in the worst place, right? So, Bungie already came out and said, like in the Massive Breakdown podcast where they had the weapon experts on, scout rifles they're not getting buffed anytime soon because they don't want people to go back to playing yellow bellied. So I would say probably, man, I want to say pulse rifles because of like PvE purposes, but pulse rifles are freaking devastating in Crucible in the right hands because you have so many that are just so good between No Time to Explain and Vigilance Wing and what's the other one? Well, that's still that one. Like some of those, they're just so good. So because I'll say sidearms because we kind of touched on this last week, but sidearms will be my answer for that one. And Jared, we'll let you take the last question here.
All right. Is New World dead world now? Go ahead and start the clock here. Yeah, it is dying.
I don't have the call ready.
Yeah, it's all good. Basically, what's going on? There's a lot of exploits that people are finding. One ability with the hatchet is like you can go invincible for like 2 seconds as you do TPS, and people put their like game in window mode and then like swing the window around when that ability happened, and it just made them invincible as long as they were twirling the window around. So that got fixed today. And now somebody found another exploit where if you can, you put down this healing rift type deal and you spam crouch in it, you like get as fast as you crouch as many ticks of healing. You usually give like a tick of healing every second. And now it's just like you can get like 7 or 8 ticks within a second. So almost makes yourself invincible because DPS can't keep up with that. The economy is falling because people only want the most basic elements to use to level up their crafting. That like in-game materials are worth less than what you find in the starting area. So like and then wars, people only winning wars based on their connection. So whoever has the best connection to the lobby is the people that win the war. And the wars change so much with the economy and be able to change stuff between servers. And I know like a lot of the big Destiny people that went over it and like did like a clan together, they're calling for New World to shut down the game right now with all these exploits. So it's they got a lot of work to do. And I looked up, it's like how much time did I put into the game? I put over 80 hours now. So it's a $40 game, and I put in $40. So that's 50 cents an hour. I'd say for the majority, I did get my money's worth, but like I'm not at max level yet. I'm at level 40. I have another 20 levels to go. I have like another like 10 zones to get to. So there's a lot in the game that's just PvE that I haven't experienced. I'm not treating this game like I do Destiny, rushing to end game so I can go do the most hardest stuff possible. It's just like I'm playing and filling the gaps to witch screen with my wife. And she loves MMOs and she still enjoys it. So like, as we just enjoy questing and unlocking zones, I'm going to keep playing. But it's not as popular with the 1 million people they had playing at once 4 weeks ago, and now it's just like 300,000.
I think I speak for everybody when I say war. Good God, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. So I do want to hit one new thing here. A little update that Jared made the comment earlier. I wish I had the exact quote. I almost typed it out as he said it, but I stopped myself. But it was something, to paraphrase it, was, I believe that Bungie has finally fixed Telesto,
Yeah.
saying that it wasn't. So it's already broke. This is coming. This is coming October 28th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. I saw about 45 minutes ago, our boy Skoptic posted in our a link to a tweet to where so Telesto is basically stopping. It's like negating supers at the moment. So the map Cauldron, the PvP map, which was the Trials map this week, the one that has all the doors that open into the area. If you plant Telesto onto like the door frame there, and say like a Titan comes through with hammers, and he can't throw his hammers through the door because it negates the hammer going through.
Yeah, that's the same thing it was doing with Golden Gun. So Golden Gun, you'd basically shoot your ally, so he had a bulletproof vest on. But now they're shooting the doors so that they stay floating in air, so that the hammer hits the shot and immediately dissipates. That makes sense. Now they'll just have to like spam shoot it so that people can't have to run through, but then they take a lot of damage. Yeah, oh my god. Of course.
so I saw that. I just wanted to mention that. But make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod. Please subscribe to us on YouTube so you can see all our new content. I am going to be an island boy next week in the Bahamas. So I am going to miss next week's episode. I'm going to count on these two. I'm hoping they pull like a surprise guest they haven't told me about yet out of nowhere. There's one person that is banned from the show for eternity. That name will not be spoken on this podcast, and we'll let you guys figure it out. I'm sure there's about 10 or 12 of you that know who this person is. So I don't know what to tell you. It's my man
crush every day.
Yeah. So as I travel next week, so just remember, I'll be gone. These guys will hold it down. I'm sure they'll have a great show like they did the last time I was at the beach. So follow us on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod. Be sure to like, subscribe, and all the other stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and I'll let these guys sign off.
Well, I guess Telesto claimed the Salt Throne. What is dead may never die.
It's definitely it's never gonna go away ever. It's always gonna be there. It's holding the throne for what was it? Oh god, I said the name earlier. Pocket Infinity. It's keeping that spirit alive.
Go Cats. Love you guys. Listen, Jared,